All right, everyone, welcome. So we're going to do something, kind of an experiment here. I am lead trainer with StocksToTrade, Tim Bohen. You might be here because of subscribing to the channel. Normally, we have been doing these weekly recaps on Friday afternoons, and you bear with me a little bit here. I've never used Google Hangouts to do a screen share. I do a lot of live streaming with webinars and such, but it looks like everything's working. So I'm going to go ahead and roll with the planned agenda. Now, what I would like, if you could leave a comment, we're just kind of trying different things to see what works for all of you. We were doing these 5:30 Friday nights, but kind of felt like a lot of traders were, a lot of traders, me included, like to kind of bust out right at 4 o'clock on Friday nights. Trading is busy. It takes a lot of energy. It's stressful. A lot of traders, as I mentioned, will kind of take off right at 4 o'clock. So let me know, did you prefer the Friday night recap, or would you like this Monday morning, or propose other times? We're really looking to cater these things to what works for the most of you. So it's 11:30 Monday morning. This is tentatively the new time slot for these live videos. Give me a comment. Let me know. That being said, let's recap last week's stocks and then also talk about what we're looking at going into this week. ZSAN spiking right now, for sure. Interesting. If this breaks, would be Thursday's highs. This was the big mover on Thursday. Went from 250 to 6+, faded all day Friday. Never could get any traction. You can see the volume on your screen. The volume on Friday was dreadful. Congrats to anybody that shorted it on Friday, because this was an all-day fade. But as we've seen lately, these stocks just refuse to quote unquote die. They be very, if you're a short bias trader, nothing wrong with it as a strategy. It's very viable, but man, you have to have your plan and you have to stick to it. These stocks do not just fade back days in a row. You get these moves like this on ZSAN where they just do not break support. And you can see that kind of came to that 450 support area that was in play on Thursday. Then it held on Friday, held this morning, and then blast off. So definitely one to watch. This wasn't on the stocks to watch, but just kind of saw this spiking here as I went live. So let's go over last week's ideas. So this is going back to, again, last week. These aren't the tickers from last night's watch list, so this week's watch list, but I will go over those. TEUM ground higher really every day last week. There's worse trades out there. This was at 52-week highs on Friday and then went into slow mover mode all week. But there's worse trades is what I would say. Not exactly a home run, but was green pretty much every day last week and closed closed at 390s, basically the high of the week last week. So not bad, not doing a whole lot this morning, but this kind of moves with Bitcoin. This is a crypto related play. And if you're following Bitcoin, you'd know that it kind of fell apart on over the weekend. Bitcoin was at like 4,300, and then last I knew, let me get there, 3,700 or something like that this morning, 3,800. So had higher hopes for TEUM, but there's worse trades out there. So then next on the list, UXIN, killer move this morning. Fading right here, but a lot of members of StocksToTrade Pro took this over the weekend because it was, it closed at the highs of the week. We were watching this. This was on the watch list several weeks ago on that $4 break area, and you can see when it broke 4. Really, let me shut some of this stuff off here. Once it broke 4, off to the races. Held that all week, and then a huge move today. Big gap up. I think this was up about 18-20% this morning. So take those gains. You can see a lot of profit taking now, but if you gapped it over the weekend, you get that 70-80 cent gap up. Definitely a good trade there. Next is Zynga, ZNGA. Another one probably had higher hopes. You can't really call this a win. It basically went sideways the whole week, but something I talk about with these watch list stocks, a lot of these, we're looking for part-time trader-friendly stocks, new trader-friendly stocks. And the beauty of something like Zynga, even though the trade didn't necessarily materialize, what's your worst-case scenario? You lose 5 cents, maybe you break even. There's value in that. Everybody loves to trade the crazy volatile stocks, but the nice thing about something like Zynga, if the idea doesn't work, if it doesn't follow through, you stop out, break even-ish, no harm, no foul. Yeti had a great week early in the week. Whoops, if I can type. I actually need to dial back here, go to the 10-day chart here. You can see Yeti selling off this morning, but remember, we're going over the stocks from last Sunday's watch list, not yesterday, last Sunday. You look at the 14th, which would have been, or the 19th, I'm sorry, which would have been the start of the week. This thing spiked into the 25s, and this was on the watch list for 2 weeks. So from the teens to 25, if you're perfect, you're going to, nobody's perfect, but there's 15-20% there if you time it just right. And then IRBT was another one that ultimately worked last week. Now, as I talked about, I did a Instagram recap. This was our Money Monday stock. And was it an amazing trade? No, but it did go from the 120s to, I think, a high of just over 124. Not really ideal. You're not really looking to make $5 a share or $4 a share on a $120 stock. But again, similar situation. If you stop out for small profits or you stop out for break even as a part-time trader, if you got a job that you've got to be at, there's worse trades out there. You can enter these things. You can set your stop loss at break even. Put a good till canceled order in, and you can walk away and know that if this trade doesn't work, if it comes back to your entry, you get stopped out, you lose your commissions, but beyond that, you entered a good setup. It simply didn't work. All right, let's talk about this week's trades that we'll be recapping next week. NIO. So this one we talked about on the Thursday night webinar. So far, so good. Right here, Thursday night, we did a webinar, open webinar, I call it, for StocksToTrade. NIO, right here. You can, so I would have been doing the webinar, would have been right here. Right here, the 22nd, the evening of the 22nd. NIO closed at the high of the day, closed on a 1 week breakout, and then we had the rumor of the 60 minutes appearance that ultimately ended up happening. So then you could see Friday. So I was doing the webinar Thursday night. We talked about it Thursday night. Come in Friday morning, this dipped to the 780s and then closed above 8s and then touched above 9s today. So if you were in Thursday night's webinar, we talked about this one. I really like this week. These electric car, especially the Chinese plays, have been hot. Candy is another one that was a featured stock in the webinar Thursday night. A push above 9. It's currently struggling with that, but I would watch this for red to greens, especially new highs. If the momentum takes off on NIO, I think Candy can definitely follow, and we might be looking at new highs later this week. Roku was a great stock Friday afternoon. A lot of traders in StocksToTrade. This is Roku. You know, if you've been on the weekly watch list that goes out to your email every Sunday, Roku has been on there, I don't even know, 10 times probably, but gapped up on earnings Friday morning. And geez, look at that. Look at that trade on Friday, just all day. Closed at the high of the days, and then you would never, there's really no reason to sell on this thing. And you can see, I mean, it dipped for 30 seconds this morning, but then reclaimed, pushing the highs. Great trade on Friday. Focus on these earning stocks. Continuing today. So far, for a Sunday watch list, this thing is crushing it. UXIN, we already talked about. Probably, you know, we'll probably needs to consolidate for a few days or weeks here. But if you gapped it over the weekend, very nice. AMRN has upcoming earnings. So wait on this trade. I believe it's the, double check this, but I believe it's the 27th that earnings are out on AMRN. So have this on your radar. But what I love is that high volume move on Friday. You know, to me, when you see a move like that on Friday, with earnings still a few days away, it really looks like, you know, air quotes, somebody knows something. Like maybe there's some good news coming. So no trade yet. This is a later in the week idea. Wait for those earnings to hit and then react. The last one was the speculative play of the day, and no trade here. So the nice thing about these crazy movers, this was the big mover on Friday, went from the 170s to the 450s. What we were looking for here was strictly a day two squeeze. We were looking for stubborn shorts that held this over the weekend. At this point, congrats to the shorts. This fell apart. Now, this will be the closing point. Go back to ZSAN, you know, be very, you know, congrats to shorts today on ACHV. If they held it over the weekend, great job. But I say, if you're a short, take those quick gains. Next thing you know, it's one more day and you're trapped in something like ZSAN. So, all right, everyone, thank you for being here. I got to figure out how to use the chat. This is a little new to me. So comment in the comments, please. Number one, which day do you prefer? Do you prefer Friday afternoons or Monday mornings? And then number two, what do you think about this live aspect? I know I didn't jump in chat, but I don't even know how to get there. I don't think my webcam's on. If my webcam was on, you'd see a confused look on my face. But so two things: Friday afternoon or Monday, and do you like the live recaps, or is recorded just as good? So thanks a lot, everyone. Have a great day, and we will see you next time.